Arizona basketball falls a little bit short against Duke, but there was a lot of really good stuff to take away from it, and Arizona gets a massive commitment in the process.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Again, Locked On, your team every day. The show is brought to you today by 5-Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find 15 flavors to choose from. And again, need one? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, Arizona ends up losing to Duke in a game where, I'm just going to be honest here, I think Duke is the best team in the country. I look at that team across the board and they're just better. It is a massive team. Not only is it a massive team, it is a team that is just perfectly constructed in that you've got shooters, you've got bigs, you've got depth, you've got young players, you've got perimeter guys, you've got a lot of different things. And again, watching this team, you're just like, wow, there's not much you can do. Arizona was going to need to play a perfect game to beat Duke, and it played a really, really good game. But the problem was it didn't play well enough to be able to see, this one to victory. And I think that's something that that's something that Arizona fans have to look at and, just say it is what it is. Duke's just a little bit better basketball team, and they're probably the best team in the country. I think they're going to be cutting down the nets. But again, Cooper Flagg, what more can you say about him? He's a generational talent. He is like I said, he is an absolute monster. Watching Flagg, you can just see that he's just next level. Arizona had nothing that they could do with him. And quite frankly, no other school has anything you could do with him because, again, he's 6'10", 6'9", whatever, can handle the ball, can shoot, makes 3-pointers. And you can tell, like, when all the NBA folks were talking about how, he was giving the business to players, in the USA Select, you can see why. He also should have been a senior in high school this year. That's how different he is than basically everybody else. Arizona, like I said, he was a big difference in this game. Arizona didn't really have anything that it could do with him. And I can't really sit here and say I can't really sit here and complain much about that because it just is what it is. Duke was a better team. Now, there were a couple things too that I think were for Arizona that were you were able to stay in the game, but a big problem was not only were you you stayed in the game, which was obviously a great thing. The problem, though, and I think this is what came down to, was the end of that first half and the beginning of the second half. Caleb Love, who we're going to get to in a minute, was absolutely fantastic. He was vintage. He was great. There was no way around it. The 3-point shot, though, that was taken at the end of the game was at the, with about 9 seconds left, the step back, that was not a good shot. And it was compounded by the fact that Carter Bryant couldn't secure the rebound that went right to him. We're going to get to Carter here in a little bit. And then obviously Duke made a 3, and then the rest was history from there. It just kind of is what it is. There's no way around it. Arizona just didn't play well enough to win. Now, I want to give some kudos to a player, though, that was a massive, who played just incredibly well this entire NCAA tournament, and that is the young man Caleb Love. My Caleb. I absolutely love Caleb Love. He's one of my favorite players to ever come through here. Is he one of the best? No, probably not. But he's also somebody, too, you watch how he plays, you watch how much it matters to him, everything that goes into it. He's a professional, and he elevates his game in the biggest moments. And I think that's something that was very evident throughout. And against Oregon, when Arizona needed to be able to win that game, or Arizona needed to be able to make big shots to put things away, they were able to do just that. And I think that's something that you look at it and you're like, I'm not, you don't really know exactly what else to say, but he was huge from making shots, getting into the lane. I think that he is like I said, I think he's a player that is going to play in the NBA. I really do. I don't know that he's going to ever be a star or anything like that, but I do think that he's going to play in the NBA, and I think he's going to be a very good player, and at least as a practice player, whatever the case may be. I don't know exactly what role he is, but he was the man. And again, for all the crap that he had to put up with from fans throughout, the fact that, he played steady, he continued to do exactly what he could do. It was, like I said, it was very gratifying to see. The young man is absolutely fantastic. And I don't know what else to say about it. A lot of people said that he couldn't adapt, that he couldn't get better, that he couldn't do a lot of this, a lot of this, a lot of that. Well, they were all wrong. He could adapt, he could get better, and he played his best basketball down the stretch. Arizona just came up against a better team in Duke, and that's just kind of the way I look at it. But Caleb Love will always have a soft spot in my heart here at the U of A, just because he's a great kid. I love just hearing how he went about things. He was great. No other way. I can't really put it any other way. And for the people that were like, well, North Carolina moved on from him. North Carolina didn't get better moving on from him. Arizona got better with Caleb Love, and that just kind of is what it is. So big shout out to him. But the problem, though, for Arizona is that for Arizona to win against really good teams, Arizona had to have the best player on the court, and that was still Cooper Flagg. We're going to get into some of the players here that were disappointing and whatnot, and what that look ahead will look like. But Duke's better. Don't know really what else to say. From 3-point shots to finishing around the hoop to having size to be imposing, that's just a really, really good. That's just a problematic Duke team, and I expect them. I think they're going to beat the snot out of Alabama next game, and I think they're going to win the national championship. We'll see. We'll see if that one does play out, but I think that's a good team. Now, the next thing that I think we need to talk about, though, is, some of the players that Arizona needed to really perform well just really weren't able to. KJ Lewis didn't have a great game. I hope KJ comes back. We're going to talk about it in a second. But KJ Lewis didn't have a great game. You look at Jane Bradley. JB didn't play great either. I want to have Jane Bradley back as well. But these are the kind of players, though, that Arizona needed to get really kind of next level performances from, and they did it. So it's that, Tobe Awaka, you needed more of the Tobe against Oregon. You didn't really get that, but overall, like I said, I can't really sit here and complain a ton, being that I think Duke was, like I said, Duke was better. Now, and the other one too, you needed Carter Bryant to play better. Carter Bryant was I know he made a couple threes at the end, but overall, he was kind of a non-factor when they needed him. And, again, not going to sit here because, again, he's a really, really good basketball player, but Arizona kind of needed more from Carter Bryant, not necessarily what it got. But it also kind of goes to show you too, at the end of the day, that this is a if you got experience, it can really show. I mean, you look at the best players in this game outside of Cooper Flagg, and it was Tyrese Proctor. It was Caleb Love. It was guys like that have been here, that have done that. And so that's a like I said, that's a recipe for success if you got older players in there. Now, we're going to talk about some really exciting news that Arizona got and what it means for this roster going forward as well. But first, Nissan, my friend, Nissan. Here's the deal. We're all about the stats because numbers don't lie. That's something that Nissan lives by. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are in MVP level. They are, with the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds. It can quite literally carry the whole team plus the gear wherever you need to go. That is the great thing about it. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between, and with the room for up to 8 people. Again, family vehicle, this is you right there, delivering the strength and performance that you want. Again, whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada PRO-4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights at the new all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. Learn more at nissanarmada.com. And everybody, FanDuel, you know the drill around here. FanDuel, yes. Here's the great thing. March Madness is here. Arizona just lost, a bummer, but guess what? FanDuel still has you covered. Here's the deal. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on anything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and who's cutting down the nets. You name it, they got it. And again, it's really good stuff. You can pick your favorites. You can watch the game and say, you know, I think that people are slipping a little bit on this one. I think they need to do that. Stay in the action. Again, live betting, you name it, easy and fast. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. I don't have to wait like 4 months or whatever the case may be. Visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoop actions all tournament long. FanDuel, check it out. FanDuel. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk a little bit about Arizona getting a massive commitment from top 5 prospect in the country, Koa Peat. Koa's a monster. Listen, here's kind of where I'm at. If a guy has been in the spotlight for what, 5-6 years, and he's maintained top 5 level status, that means that he's really, really good. And that's what Koa Peat is. Koa Peat is the highest rated player of the Tommy Lloyd era. And we got to give the coaching staff a ton of credit for this one because they stayed true. They stayed true to form, and they were able to get Koa. Koa is a monster. And I think the big thing that you're going to see next year is Koa is going to be a problem facing up in the mid-post area. Facing up and getting to the rim, not only getting to the rim, but also finishing in traffic. He's also a very underrated passer. That's the thing that you've got to look at and say, what can he do, at that next level? And he's going to be very, very good. He also is he's not a great shooter, but he's a good enough ball handler. And he can also, like I said, he can also finish in traffic, can do a lot of different things for you. I don't know that he's necessarily going to be the go-to scorer for Arizona next year, but I do think that he is going to definitely be in that mix where you're looking at go-to scorers, and Koa Peat's going to be one of those dudes. You watch him, and he just kind of, like I said, he's a physically overpowering player, but he's also a really, really good athlete. He's not an Aaron Gordon type athlete, but he's also a player that is, how do I put this? More than athletic enough. And he's got really good basketball IQ. I think you're going to see a lot. You're going to see a little bit of a Luke Walton type role for him in that he's going to be a 4 that is going to be able to initiate a little bit because he's a really good passer. And again, he's kind of indestructible. I mean, he's a really tough dude. And this is also a massive shout out to Tommy Lloyd and to TJ Benson. TJ Benson, one of the hardest working people on the staff. And you've got to be able, TJ Benson, just a really, really good addition. He also understands the state, how recruiting works, all of that. So this was a massive commitment. And again, Tommy Lloyd, his whole thing was, I'm only going to target a few players each go around. And if you only target a few players each go around, then you got to hit on those players. And he's so far so good. I mean, this recruiting class right now, you've got Bryce James, you got Koa Peat, you've got Dwayne Aristod, and now you still got the elephant in the room too, that is Braden Burries, who we're going to get to, but still got to focus on Koa Peat. This was a massive get for the University of Arizona. I mean, you got him and you got Aristod up front. You also bring back you're also going to likely bring back Henry. You're going to bring back some other guys as well. I would imagine Mo Krivas. I don't see Awaka coming back. That's just a guess. I have no inside info on that, but I think it's just mainly because Awaka is better than I think Awaka has played himself out of that, in that if he's not going to be coming off the bench, then he should go somewhere where he can play because he's way too good not to be playing. I mean, he is we watched Tobe Awaka and you could just see it. But this is like I said, in the state, this is a very, very good player for Arizona to get. And it's somebody too that I think Wildcat fans got to be really, really thrilled about that they were able to get. And the other thing with this squad as well you just kind of know as well that this is a, whatever next year brings. I get all of that. But getting Pete gives you a huge, much bigger margin for error than you otherwise had, because you didn't have that kind of margin for error before you had Koa Peat. You got Koa Peat now. He can, he's a little bit different, and then he can weak side shot block. He can finish around the hoop. Arizona hasn't really had an athlete like that. Really, in Tommy Lloyd's first couple of years, the only really good athlete he's had at that power forward position is Keyshawn Johnson. And that's it. He hasn't really had anybody else that was kind of in that realm. And I think you see it right now, and you're like, okay, that's what Koa Peat is. But again, if you're only going to target a couple kids, then you got to be able to get them. Now, the next one I think that we want to talk about is Braden Burries. I believe Arizona will get Braden Burries. At the end of the day, I know that there is a little bit of that attraction to staying at SC, staying home, but still, Braden Burries is a player that Arizona's prioritized. He's also with Clutch. That's another thing too here, is that the LeBron factor I think matters. If you're Braden Burries and you're like, I either want to go to SC or I want to go to Arizona. What do I really want to do? Listen, I mean, you got a top 10 team next year that has given you the keys to the position, and you got LeBron James hanging around. I mean, LeBron James he's tweeting out pictures of you saying, way to go, Neff, things like that. I mean, that's an enticing thing to look at and to probably not really turn away from. So we'll see how this one does play out. But overall, I think Arizona is in a very good spot. Again, this is not a situation that, how do I put this? This is not a situation where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when it comes to getting Braden Burries? You got to get Braden Burries. There's going to be other guys in the portal. Tommy Lloyd has done a very, very nice job in the portal. And not only has he done a very nice job in the portal, he is also a guy who you watch him and you're like, oh, he knows what he's doing. Not only does he know what he's doing, he also knows too that he is that's what you got to get. Braden Burries is that dude, though. And if you don't get him, then you're probably going to go into the portal. I get all that, but you got to be able to get him, period. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of this. I am excited though to see exactly, because Arizona is in a good spot, and Tommy Lloyd, like you said, he's killed it in the portal. You're probably going to lose a couple guys. We're going to talk about one of those guys in the portal that you might lose and how you're going to probably replace it. But at the end of the day, with Tommy Lloyd, and it comes to Tommy Lloyd in offense, I'm going to have a lot of faith that Tommy Lloyd can do what he needs to do offensively, because the numbers speak up for itself. But we're going to talk about that roster here in just a second. But first, 5-hour energy, my friends. 5-hour energy. Okay, here's the deal with 5-hour energy and why we all like it. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. We don't like that. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-hour energy has your back. Again, the extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little thing to boost you through the day. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with a busy day, 5-hour energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up. And again, all kinds of stuff. You've been staying up late watching basketball games and you need a little bit of energy. Boom, extra daylight, extra activity, on-the-go convenience. That's the great thing about 5-hour energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com and find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can build your own 12 or 24 pack delivered right to your door. Very convenient. Need one now? Grab 5-hour energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and get energized. Again, visit 5hourenergy.com to stock up and save. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk a little bit about who could be back next year, who won't be back. It's going to be a very interesting one for this Wildcat squad. I think the first one that you need to talk about, Jaden Bradley. I would expect Jaden Bradley to be back. I think he'll probably test the waters, but this staff loves Jaden Bradley. He's a Wildcat. And he fits in really well. You can win a lot of games with somebody like Jaden Bradley on your team. You don't want him to be your front line. You don't want him to be your front line guy. But if he's one of your 4 best players, then you're probably in pretty good shape. That's something that you got to keep in mind. He is. I would expect him back now. KJ Lewis or Carter Bryant. I expect one of those 2 back. I don't know which one though, and I think that's the. Again, I like KJ a lot, but if you have to choose one, you would probably prefer Carter. But at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. So that's kind of where we're at. Now, the other thing too that we need to look at is who is that next guy then? KJ Lewis. I think KJ Lewis will probably if I had to guess between Carter Bryant and KJ Lewis, I think that it's probably going to be how do I put this? I think it is a team that is I think it is a team that's probably going to get KJ Lewis back. And because he's going to probably try to go off to the NBA, but I think he's also going to find out that they're going to say, yeah, you need to go back. And when you can make money, when you can have NIL and you can continue to get better, that's a really, really good thing. And I think that's something that he's got going for him as well. I would expect him to probably be your starting small forward. I'd love to have Carter back. I just don't know that, I think he's probably going to test pretty well, and we'll see. But I think you could also see the case too for why he should come back, because he is he's just not quite there yet. I mean, but again, he's a great kid, great family. Wish them all the best. I think Tobe Awaka probably moves on. I think that he is as good as he is. If he's only going to play 15 to 18 minutes per game, I think that's going to be the I think that's probably going to be the impetus for him leaving, because he could go to Texas Tech, or he could go to St. John's, or he could go to a bunch of different places, and he could really how do I put this? He could really, I think he could really turn into something there, but you don't want to lose him, but it is what it is. Obviously, Trey Townsend moving on. Mo Krivas, Tommy Lloyd loves Mo Krivas. Tommy Lloyd thinks the world of Mo Krivas, and Tommy Lloyd has shown one thing, that he's really good at evaluating big men. And if he thinks that Mo Krivas is that guy that can really kind of, make that next step and be next to Henry or Koa Peat, I'm going to take his word for it. I mean, he certainly has that track record. Dwayne Aristod as well. I think this is somebody we're sleeping on a little bit. He's got to get his foot right, but assuming his foot's right, he's a monster. He was a top 15 type prospect. Now he's in that 35 hole. You get him though, and you're also looking at you get him, and he's going to be somebody that's going to be able to compete as well. I think the great thing about this entire team is that, like I said, in this program, is that everybody fought. Every year, people are saying, well, I want you to be tougher, or I want this, or I want that. And they did. They were tough. This team battled, and it was fun to watch this entire season. It looked like early on like they weren't going to even make the NCAA tournament, and there they are in the Sweet 16 going toe-to-toe with Duke. Now, it was a limited team in certain aspects, and I think I think next year's team will be more talented, and I think next year's team has the potential to be Tommy Lloyd's best team. So we will, like I said, we're going to see how that plays out. But overall, I'm optimistic, though. I think the future's bright. I think recruiting is solid, and I think in the transfer portal, Arizona has shown that they know what they're looking for, and you got 2 recruiters in Jack Murphy and TJ Benson that work their butt off. And that's something that's a testament to this Wildcat team. And I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think next year's team has the potential, depending on who you get, to be one of the 5 best teams in the country preseason. It's certainly going to be top 10. You just got to continue to add some people. Carter Bryant, I think, is going to be a huge question in all of this. Does he come back? Because if he comes back, then I think you're looking at the preseason #1 team in the country. That's how good they could be. We'll see, though. I mean, again, he's got a really good family, all of that. But overall, very, very proud of this Arizona team. They battled. It's a good group of dudes, and it's a coaching staff that's awesome as well. And things are just going to get better. So, you look at it and you're like, okay, things are going to be all right for Arizona basketball. And I think that's the part that we should all be really, really excited about. But on that note, you have a great weekend, and we'll be back with you Monday. And I will, like I said, thanks for keeping Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Locked On, your team every day.